Hello, very good evening. Today we're going to talk about some of the best options available for free web hosting services. There are thousands of websites that allow us to host our web content free of cost with certain catch. Usually those catch can be limited bandwidth, limited amount of space, URL restrictions, and so on and so forth. In today's talk, we're just going to discuss few basic common websites that are commonly used and have a much better reputation as compared to all others. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe the channel, hit that bell icon so you receive such kind of cool videos regularly and get notified. So let's begin. Now, one of the best website on my top of the list is called Hostinger.com. Okay, so if you're here for the first time, if you haven't heard about it, this is a pretty good website that has lots of good features and options available. However, it isn't what we call 100% free. There is a very nominal charge, which as you can see is almost $0.9 per month, which is a very small amount. So for a good website, okay, and I highly recommend this, and it's like the top of my list. I have few websites on this as well. It has a very nice and good plan. So for example, if you go for that $1 per month fees, it gives you one website, gives you one email. There's a limited bandwidth, obviously there's a catch, but again it means that it has a free SSL certificate for security allocations, and certain locations or resources are available, which is a very good place to begin for absolutely new beginners. But if you can spare few more dollars, at $3 per month, it has few more features available which are actually more substantial. For example, having unlimited websites, emails, bandwidth allocation, WordPress, and free SSL certificates, and so on and so forth. Okay, and even its more expensive features, you can see $7 per month, which isn't that much. It's a manageable thing for a good large scale business having large amount of data. So this is quite essential and quite useful website that you can do. It has unlimited features available, but however there are certain limitations to it, and one of the major limitations can be that the user interface is not so friendly, especially with cPanel. That's the common problem that we hear with this particular website, that the cPanel integration is not so commonly done, and people tend to have a lot of problem with that. Anyway, so that's the first website. The second website on my list is called 000webhosting.com. Now 000webhosting.com again is a very powerful and very commonly used website, and it is considered almost free of cost. However, it will take your website down for few hours a month. Okay, so for few hours a month, it will be offline. So for whatever purpose they do that, I don't know, but you would find that 2-3 hours a month it will go offline. But if you are a small business or a student trying out your online website, this is just a very good place without spending any money on it. It has a subdomains included with it. Its packages do involve that if you go for a $0 web hosting, you can host one space up to 300 MB. There is always a limited bandwidth, 3 GB at a time maximum. But again, if you are a student or a very small business, this can be a very good place to start until you grow your business to a substantial level. If you're a student working on projects or anything, then you can easily host your website on this and it without any cost. So usually websites are small, 300 MB, you can easily have that. You won't be requiring an email because you're just a student trying out few things, and there is no 24-hour support, but you can do that. If you can spare some money, like a dollar a month, again a dollar a month isn't much, but you can host one website with a 10 GB of space if you require that much amount, with a free domain as well. So with a small amount of money, you can still have a very good website hosting space available. And if you start increasing the packages, you would see that it has more of what we call better packages available with better security and backups and every other feature. So $3 a month again is cheaper than the previous one and has more options available for us. So this is again another good option if you are looking for finding a better website for online web hosting. Obviously, with every hosting there is a limitation as well, and one of the many problems that we experience while this website is that frustrating unusable uptimes. Okay, meaning that sometimes it's working very nice, bandwidth is being very highly provided, but at certain times the bandwidth was very low and I was not able to access my pages very easily. It was taking more time to load. So that is one thing that you have to go for, or you have to keep in mind, that this website might not be running 100% all the time. or it might not allow your website to run 100% all time. It just blocks certain bandwidth so that time goes to another websites. Obviously, with the low cost websites, that's something that you have to compromise. Bandwidth allocation is issue with major websites. Anyway, so that's one thing. The third on my list is called Infinity Free. Okay, infinityfree.com .net is again another very nice website available that allows you to freely host lots of websites free of cost, and it has a free fast packaging available. It has a bandwidth allocation and space allocation limited for you. I think the detailed packages, and you can still host WordPress or Joomla websites on this. So this is again a pretty good option available. If you explore this, you would find that some of the options are in fact better and have a much what we call freedom with working with your files. So I do also highly recommend this free unlimited web hosting from this Infinity Free website. So do check it out. The fourth being again one of the most commonly used. I think this is something that everybody has already heard of, but they are not using it professionally for whatever purpose. It's sites.google.com. So Google Websites is again a very good option available. There are lots of websites using it, and it's available free of cost. However, there are certain limitations to it. You cannot completely upload your own customized website on Google Sites. You need to use one of the pre-built templates, and honestly those templates are not so professional and with a very limited editing ability, especially with the amount of SEO optimization you can do for your websites, and I believe though it also cannot be or integrated with Google AdSense either. That's why it's not so commonly used. But for a small business, for a small person, for a small organization, it is a good starting place, and then you can move forward from there. As a student task, yes, you can use this as well. You can use a blank website, or you can host from one of these templates available, and I think you can find many other templates if you go into the gallery. The URL initially again uses sites.google.com/ and then your website name, which again you can remap to your own purchase domain as well. But being the limitation that it doesn't allow you to completely upload your own website, and it has a bandwidth limitation as well. I think the maximum size limit is also 100 MB for the free accounts, and for if you have a Google Suite account, then you might be able to upload a better website. So, but still, it is a good option available at the starting class. The fifth one, I think this is the fifth one, is called awardspace.com. Now AwardSpace is again free web hosting that sounds very nice, and it has actually a lot of good features available as compared to other, but it has certain limitations that puts it back in the list. Now, first major option that we found was that the subdomains you can use in this particular website, you can have what we call almost a 5 GB of bandwidth as per their specifications, that you can use 5 GB of bandwidth specifications. Disk space almost of 1 GB, which is I have not tested it yet, but again according to their free website host specifications, you can do that. For a basic plan, obviously it is purchasable as well. So if you purchase for a basic plan, you get good amount of information available, but for a free plan you will still get 1 GB with 5 GB of bandwidth, which is pretty good. You can host 4 websites at a time, or I think one website at a time on a free account, and 2 websites on if you buy $3 worth of space per month. Okay, so it has a good features to it in our sense. However, again, the limitations are there. The limitations that there are several issues within the free hosting service, and which basically create problem and make it more difficult for a person to manage. There are lots of issues of servers and bandwidth allocation and site not working. Free users have only limited space available. Moreover, there is again an issue that if you read its terms and conditions, that it may use your data to sell your data to other people. So that's again one thing that we found from the little feedback and search that we did online, that this website may use your data. That's why people tend to avoid it, and it is creating an issue. Okay, so that's why I said usability issues and feature issues are there. Free web hosting spaces again can be used and has good features to it, but again the bandwidth and the learning curve creates more problem for it. Okay, the next is called freehosting.com. Now the freehosting.com again is a good place if you are a learner, but it has slow speed if I put it on initially, but again, it's a very good place where you can start working with it. The free web hosting service provides free web hosting, and it has good space amount and good cPanel integration that you can use. The bandwidth, I cannot determine on this website how much bandwidth they are providing for a free account. And then again, the disk space as per their description was supposed to be 10 GB, which I highly doubted, but again they said that they will be using 10 GB. It has an integrated site builder and apps installer that you can install for your own system. It has a good WordPress support, but for your paid account, I believe if you are using a free account, you can have your own domain up. Again, it says 10 GB space, but I doubt it. Unmetered bandwidth, again I doubt it if it gives you unmetered bandwidth. Usually they are all metered and have a limited amount of space. They give you one email account and one SQL database. Now this is something that is very interesting. For this, most of the free websites don't give you what we call a free database access. Okay, they just give you a static website, but if you need a database access for a but they will charge you for that. In this case, it says it gives you free access. I've not used it, but hoping that it has some information that can be used for people who are interested in that. Obviously, it also has a limitations. One major being that it is quite slow. What experience from we found that this website is quite slow, and the blogs have stated that as well, that its space and the data that's put to have there has issues with it, and it is one of the worst uptimes that has been experienced, and countless complaints are reported on its websites. Other than that, also that the websites are deleted without any information. So that is again one case that we have found on the blogs about this particular website. So that's why it's way down. It has a good amount of specs, but again the issues are more than that can be managed for a new person. But again, as a student, as a new learning person, this can be another good option for hosting your websites. The final in my list is called freehostia.com. Now freehostia again is a good website. It has a good amount of data provided to the user. However, again, the speed and uptime issues are also available with this particular website. FreeByte allows you to have a 255 MB of disk space and almost 6 GB of tariff, which is pretty good, and one free web hosting application installer as well. So in an initial plan, it's a good thing for a new person, new beginner. It has basic integration and all the tools that you can use quite conveniently. It gives you 3 email accounts with a database access, which is again fantastic, and you can use a 10 MB of database storage for basic static purpose, or for just to test your online project. You can use this very easily. So it has a good features available for again free hosting websites. So any student who is interested in this one is very nice. But the biggest problem with the free hosting is that the restrictions they place on your storage and bandwidth limits. With, for example, partly of 250 MB of storage, 6 GB of bandwidth, even most minimalist of webmasters will struggle, and they will have a lot of problem in hosting their larger websites. So for a large content, it creates more problem. And as a student, again, it can be a very good idea to start your initial, but for a more corporate level firm, this will be more devastating. Okay, so this sums up my websites. If you have any other idea, if you have any more feedback on these, do leave your comments down below, and I will try to answer them, and we will try to see what other data we can gather for these websites. This is Dr. Sean Bradley. Thank you very much for watching.